them or whether they change up their strategy on that front. But so far, they're going to plant, and they've banned C now. Wow.
You get rid of the hard engage, honestly. It's the only way World Elite can really snowball the lead. Same bans for them, Victor Lissandra, no surprise, Lulu was the last one. Same goes for now, the Jarvan. So basically you take away the two frontline engages from the last fight, and of course the Diana, we have seen them play time and time again. Well, IEM.
Now absolutely must take the Rek'Sai, seeing as how it was a problem in the first game for World Elite to snowball the mid game. Leads me to think that they might side with a Maokai for the GE Tigers, get rid of the second big frontline threat, and all of a sudden you force a Luca into a less tanky champion.
Yeah, and also Rek'Sai doesn't offer you the same kind of hard engage as a Jarvan will, so unless they get a tank who can actually go in and start the fights from World Elite, we won't see the same kind of game as we saw here before.
Well, LeBlanc will be first choice here for the GE Tigers. What is Shia going to play in response? We've seen him, you know, diversifying a little bit because of that Diana ban. Where would you go?
I think more than likely he has to play an assassin here.
Just play Ahri again.
Zed can do well, or Ahri, exactly. And, you know, he has shown quite a bit of success in the mid lane in these assassins, and I wouldn't be surprised if he'd be able to pick up a solo kill against Kura. I mean, we were in the pre-game lobby, and the Tigers were joking that he was a better mid lane than Kura.
They were also saying that Spirit should play jungle Lulu, but, you know, they banned that one out for today, sadly. But they're hovering over Yasuo. I don't imagine that'll be the choice for this one. In fact, they will lock in the Ahri. So Ahri once again for Xie. He was really impressive, actually, in that last game.
Yeah, and very much a skill matchup in the mid lane, which has honestly gone in his favor, or at least kept it even for the entire tournament. So I like this pickup here. Somewhat the same setup for him, at least in there. Will be a bit tougher than the Yasuo from the last game. Maokai, though, not being picked by World Elite, so I want to see what kind of engage they're going to go for, because so far, if you look at Rek'Sai, look at Ahri, they all need setup. The horse would work.
Really surprising that they didn't prioritize the Maokai right here, just because how good of Maokai is at locking down that LeBlanc with the twisted advance. And, you know, the Morgana was not going to be taken away by the Tigers. They already locked in their support with the Janna. They're not one to really prioritize the top lane Morgana. So,
very true.
You know, a little bit of a mistake in my eyes in that draft.
Honestly, I think they wanted Hecarim from the get-go, and that's why they didn't go for Maokai. So you got a bit more split pushing potential, and what Hecarim offers with the teleport is obviously also you have the Rek'Sai with the ulti, so you can now go back to your 1-3-1 setup, which is great for World Elite and what they've been using early on to win games. And you also now got some hard engage. You got the Sivir ulti. I like the composition. It fits with their playstyle. GE Tigers, though, gone a bit more back to the kiting style, but still quite some big potential with the likes of LeBlanc and Lee Sin.
I mean, these are all some of their most popular picks within the LPL, so we're going to see a completely different Tigers as from last game. But interestingly enough, no Ignite in the top lane Hecarim for Aluka, so maybe thinking he's going to be targeted a little bit, doesn't want to die nearly as much.
Very quick and decisive pick and ban phase for both teams. We'll see who it pays off for, World Elite or the GE Tigers in the finals. We'll find out right after this.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Intel Extreme Masters, and this is it. Do or die for both World Elite and the GE Tigers. The winner goes on to the finals tomorrow to face TSM. The loser goes home. GE Tigers, a bit sloppy last game. World Elite playing extremely well in capitalizing on that. GE Tigers probably going to take the gloves off now, play it a bit more serious. What do you see happening?
Well, still, there's the chance of the freak accident. So, I mean, we could see WE take this game. It's now down to that best of one.
Sure enough.
And I mean, going into this match, it can't be understated. If the GE Tigers lose this game, this is undoubtedly the biggest upset in League of Legends history.
Yeah, it's
not a doubt in my mind that anything takes the cake on that one.
Well,
Kaboom! But I do agree that would be in entirety. And, you know, I saw a tweet just before we came on air. 22 losses for World Elite in the LPL. GE Tigers have 20 wins and 2 losses in the LCK. So massive, massive disparity. The one thing I do like about World Elite's team comp, if they play as aggressive as they did previously, and if Aluka can have similar levels of engage that he did on Sion, but this time with the onslaught of shadows, there is the possibility, but it will hinge on the disengage from Lee and from Gorilla as to whether or not World Elite can stick to GE Tigers long enough.
Right, and the thing too to mention is that the Hecarim pick is a little bit more finicky. He's not going to have as much leeway in terms of his tankiness if he builds that Trinity Force first. He did end up switching over to the Ignite in terms of his summoner spell. So you see him wrap around here in the top side, getting some decent deep wards. They're trying to prevent Smeb from handing over these Raptors early on, presumably to Kuro doing a stack and then Wing to him that we saw a bit earlier today.
Yep, looks like they won't be able to. Well,
yeah, they're just going to chase the sapling out right here. They don't want that advantage for Kuro in the laning phase.
And there's actually so few teams that are willing to try interrupt those Maokai jungles. It's surprising it doesn't happen more often, but it's a small win considering how strong Kuro was earlier.
I mean, for a team that is brand new, for WE to have the heads-up sense to go and contest that already is absolutely fantastic.
Well, I mean, we've been talking all week about how WE is the last place team in the LPL. I don't think the WE we're seeing right now would be last place if they had them all season.
They've had some of these players available for use sooner.
Right.
I think that's fair to say, because as a team, even just over the last 2 days, if you contrast the 5 games that they've played thus far, this being the 6th, I think, they're even growing in the decision-making.
Yeah.
Yesterday, as a team, the team fights were sloppy, they were disengaging poorly, or engaging poorly on different pages. Their teleports were off kilter. This morning, double teleport, they were on the same page. They could have split pushed more effectively, but I'm, being a little bit overly negative here because their team fights were solid.
All right, well, they're going to hand actually the blue buff over to Smeb early on right here to see if they do want to try and make a play or at least get some experience down in that bottom side if they do just decide to push it up right now. I think it's smart to go into the lane swap right here with some of these newer players because they may not be all on the same page right now. Plus, you have the advantage with the Sivir matchup in general, and the double spell shields is incredibly annoying for Corki to try and trade against with Phosphorus Bomb.
I think I prefer Spirit in this opportunity in the lane swap. I feel like Rek'Sai has a little bit more kill threat than Lee Sin, especially if they want to go for some dives, combo the knock-up into a Dark Binding if you go bottom lane, or a Charm in the mid lane. Maybe there's a few more opportunities for Spirit and World Elite.
Well, I think you're right, because we do see GE Tigers sending Gorilla down there to, sending Gorilla down there to keep Smeb a little bit safer too. So yeah, they probably were worried about a bit of a dive early on. Aside from that, pretty standard stuff for a lane swap. Yep, Aluka putting a ward in that try just to keep himself safe as well. He's going to try to break this freeze that Prey's tried to set up.
Yeah, but he's lost a lot of CS already. We do see a little bit of a lead developing right there. Smeb able to use that blue buff, and already Lee trying to pry him off the wave up in the top side, just making sure that he will be overextended. Good warding, though. We'll keep him safe.
Yeah, but that ward in the river will time out in the not-too-distant future. So if Lee does decide to hang around a little while longer, we did see him do a few repeated ganks in game 1 of the series. However, that was with Smeb, the top lane, and not Prey, the AD carry. So options available for Lee.
Yeah, and Smeb actually just recalling and then teleporting right back with a second Doran's ring straight into the bottom side. So transitioning really nicely off of going from blue to Gromp, straight into bottom, getting that farm and not skipping a beat.
And this is one of the games where it would be good if Smeb could get his hands on that Righteous Glory for both the engage and the disengage power that is going to offer GE Tigers against a Sivir, against a Hecarim, against an Ahri, who are incredibly mobile and incredibly fast.
Yeah, and WE here, they're going to benefit pretty significantly from an Aegis because GE does have that large amount of AP damage coming in. So itemizing 4 MR will be effective. It'll be great for Aluka in the later stages of the laning phase after he picks up a Trinity Force and starts to split push. But eyes on Aluka right here because he really does have to make the engages. And Hecarim is not as forgiving of a champion. You have to know when to be in your base in order to get the proper engage with home guard boots. So it's significantly more complex to play as a team. And with how new this team is, I have my doubts.
And it's even more complex when you're so far behind already. Yes, Aluka is staying level relevant, but he's down 12 CS to 27 of Smeb. Praise not necessarily zoning him every time we've caught a glimpse of there, but that 80 carry threat of Corki making Hecarim's last hitting life very difficult.
And they're trying to set up right here. Lots of wards from Spirit on the top side. They want to move this Morgana in as well. They want to get Shia ahead considering how well he's done individually this game. There's the W4 that may be the chance. No level 6.
Kuro has to flash his still big control. What a charm in first blood goes to Spirit. Great gank, great charm from Xia.
So risky from Kuro to W forward when he has no wards around the mid lane like that. Great setup from WE though.
And it's what we talked about with that Rek'Sai, the kill pressure from the knock up into the charm. Xia gets on the board. The kill did go to Spirit, which is not the end of the world, if he can look to impact the rest of the lanes. Or I think I would love to see him continue the warding on the top half just to help guide Aluka into the mid to late game.
Already a little bit of a scary start for the GE Tigers.
Well, there's still, I mean, because of the CS advantages right now, we're still pretty much even in this game. It's not going to be the end of the world for Kuro. Spirit also invested a lot of money into wards to set that gank up in the first place. They do have eyes on Lee, but Spirit has just been doing a fantastic job this game, showing why he's one of, if not the best jungler in the LPL.
And true enough, Isa getting possibly some deep wards in, just kind of keeping an eye on things. That's going to allow them to keep pressuring that bot lane, I suppose. Meanwhile, Kuro just keeping the increase in CS going. He's got a couple teammates around to keep him safe now, too.
The real story, though, is that this Maokai is getting so far ahead, and he has been completely unpunished in doing so. Does hit level 6, and this frees up in this lane swap situation Gorilla to move more freely around the map, help ward up around the mid lane for Kuro, who finally has that protection. Blue buff will be passed over to both mid laners here at level 6. Xia going for a Chalice first into that Athene's for some, presumably for some extra MR, at least in the very bursty LeBlanc lane.
Yeah, Kuro looks like he might be going for the Morale Namicon earlier, though, so he's going to have possibly a little bit more damage in the early stages of the game, and we'll see how well he can make that work out for him. I mean, getting killed early on, it's going to make him a little bit mad. I think Kuro's out for blood now.
The thing is, though, as well, even if you look at the CS, despite giving up that kill, he's still ahead in CS, despite all of the pressure that Kuro's had throughout this entire series.
It's not about the money, though, man. It's about the pride.
Touche. I can't disagree with that.
WE actually out of position here a little bit. There was a pink ward being killed by Xia up in the top side. That's allowed, actually, Kuro to get an angle right there. And because there wasn't good coordination, so Xia walked into the top side of the river to kill a pink ward, and that meant Kuro was closer as we see this little duel going down. And so immediately as that happened, pings went down from WE onto the closer side of the river to the dragon, and they immediately backed off. So you could see a little bit of miscoordination right there in terms of what they want to do on the map.
And the thing is, Spirit has been very, very adamant about early dragons. Despite the fact he's not on Jarvan, he's still attempted a relatively early game dragon at this stage, and it's something he's done all weekend long. Spirit is really, really trying to take advantage of uncontested dragons where possible, but he gets out cleanly thanks to that burrow.
Aluka's also caught up now in terms of that CS significantly, so he has been able to close that gap. up on the top side. Looks like we are going to see the 1v1 for the top laners at this stage. Smeb getting relatively tanky. Aluka going for that phage first. Quick ward over into the river just to see what's going on. And Smeb will pink ward his Tri-Brush as he moves back to continue to farm up here. I mean, the Maokai is a very scary pick in the late game for WE. As good as Mystic's positioning has been on that Sivir, if he can get onto the lower range Sivir, it does cause quite a few issues. And there's just so much peel on the backside too when we look at this team.
Yeah, there really is. Lee's about to find Spirit.
Oh, he comes in. Yeah, a little bit of damage onto Spirit. Doesn't get knocked up. Lee in trouble. There's a kill going over to WE already. Now Kuro has the distortion over the wall to escape. Aluka trying to come in. He's going to use that onslaught of shadows. They're going to fear Gorilla. Gorilla flashes over the wall. Oh, Dark Binding barely misses. And there's a bit of damage coming in from Prey to presumably scare WE away. But the teleport coming down for the GE Tigers. They may have WE bottled in here. Prey just trying to do some damage, trying to keep them there. There's the knockup, and Smeb comes in. What can they make out of this? Kuro locked up with that Dark Binding, preventing him from coming in quite as fast, and Smeb has to back off. So a risky moment for WE, but they get out and they get a kill as well. Maybe going to get a dragon too.
Well, they could theoretically start it right here. The Void Rush is up and available, but it looks like they are just going to back off instead, at least for the moment. GE Smeb with the late teleport coming in. Again, GE not looking quite as decisive as they have in the past in these games, and WE just playing around the objective. Kuro has W out of that, and here's the Void Rush.
Yep, they're going to go for that dragon.
Mystic was a little late to the party, but it was his on the hunt that saved WE at the end of the day. He came in through the river, but thanks to the pressure that they've built up, Kuro's now caught Xie, but Dragon goes to World Elite.
Yeah, actually, Kuro not trying to do too much damage right there, not overcommitting. So another early dragon over to WE. They take that 1,000 gold lead, and we'll see what GE can do. They're still waiting a little bit for a bit of a power spike right here. Looks like Smeb will be going for that Righteous Glory, so they'll look for some hard engages. Yeah. Maybe once we see Prey get the Trinity Force and start to whittle people down.
I think that makes sense. Sorry, Doe, but I also highlight the fact that Aluka teleported really quickly and really rapidly. World Elite were quite adamant they were looking for the fight. They got a pick on Lee, and knowing Dragon was up, there was always going to be the possibility to just transition to that objective. But World Elite need to keep doing that every time it's up. Look to get those home guards and keep playing aggressively. And if GE Tigers get caught in their own heads a little bit, lose a few more team fights, that's how World Elite can open up the rest of the map.
We haven't really seen, I would say, GE tilt.
No, not
even
really.
when they've been pretty far behind in the past. So I think they are relatively resilient in that regard. They continue to try and make plays. They want to catch out Aluka right now. Can they do it? There's
it doesn't look like it.
My question is, the previous game team fights and some of the decisions already this game, it is also one characteristic of GE Tigers.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming down right there, that was a little bit of a desperate gank in a situation where they don't have a lot of damage.
Well, we're seeing this game kind of proceed similarly to the last one, where GE is just kind of unable to keep World Elite from taking these dragons.
Well, I mean, there's only one dragon right now, so it's definitely not spiraling totally out of control yet, but
still,
it could be a factor a bit later on. And I mean, Lee blowing his flash right there for a gank that was very unlikely to see success in the first place is a bit sloppy.
It's a bit odd, but it's also in conjunction with the odd engages that he had earlier with Kuro, not on the same page. Maybe Lee pulling the trigger more quickly than he should be doing in contrast to the rest of the team. Take a look at the support for World Elite, though. They're looking to set their sights on Smeb.
Yep, certainly could be. Meanwhile, a little bit of a duel in the mid lane. Smeb still in a lot of trouble. Is he going to be able to get out? Pops that ultimate. Doesn't look like it. Nice Dark Binding. And that helps Spirit pick up the kill. And again, GE Tigers, Smeb. It's not looking too easy. There we go. I think we're back.
Sorry about that. We had some headset issues right there for a moment, but WE coming into this laning phase with a very large lead. Aluka looking to take down that tower as well.
Oh, it's a charm onto Kuro. And with Lee there to protect him, it shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yeah, but warding really hasn't been up to par, I think, for the GE Tigers coming in here.
Monte Cristo, 1 dragon on the board, 3 kills, 3,000 gold.
And a turret.
1 tower. At what point does hell freeze over and World Elite beat GE Tigers?
I mean, it could very well happen in this game. They have a substantial advantage.
Is that while GE Tigers is made from players that have been around for a while for the most part, this is the first like semi-final they've played as a team. You know, I mean, they haven't really been tested in sort of this big match pressure. And at the moment, as they lose presumably their second tower here, it looks like the GE Tigers are cracking a little bit.
Yeah, and they could very well get snowballed on. Now, the kills onto Rek'Sai aren't too much of a threat, but Prey, there's another dive potentially coming in, Spirit around the side, and WE's doing a beautiful job of snowballing their advantage, just going from lane to lane.
Yeah, the outer tower is still available on that bottom lane, and even if they don't get the tower dive kills, the wave clear and the pressure alone should buy World Elite some time on the tower. I say all of that as they decide to back, but they got some wards down at the very least. And World Elite, they're reading a very confident playbook, and with each and every game together, they seem to be growing in strength and ability and communication.
Well, right, and the thing too is with Smeb going for this Righteous Glory, I mean, GE may have some issues. That MR itemization coming into play in the late game, they could find themselves in a very low damage situation. Smeb now down a level on Aluka and has fallen behind in farm, actually.
Yeah, this is a pretty shocking turn of events in these last couple games for GE. You know, after we saw GE win game 1 so convincingly, game 2 and now game 3 looking not quite as good. Spirit comes up.
To be fair, they were down 3,000 to 4,000 gold, a similar amount in game 1 as well.
Yeah,
and here we go.
True.
There's the gank they may have been looking for. Onslaught of Shadows to get out, however.
Yeah, Luke Astap burned that ult to escape, but can GE kind of get anything out of that? You know?
It's not going to be up for the Dragon now, and that's going to be a really important point, actually. So it was a good timing. Go ahead, try and burn his ultimate so we can't get that engaged. Kuro, however, taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Xia chasing him down. Can he get away? Kuro with some nice dodges. Now Xia in trouble. Xia manages to get the kill onto Kuro, though.
What a great play from Xia right there, and a turret at the same time. GE in real trouble in this one.
I think the strings are being unraveled. Yes, Aluka was forced to burn his ultis, 140-second cooldown, slowly being whittled away. But with the tower down and kill, World Elite may have priority on Dragon. They're pushing mid lane as well. GE Tigers are just falling so far behind.
Chasing this gank up in top lane while they lose their mid-tier 2. And yeah, they might get Aluka here, but they're going to lose their mid-tier 2 turret. It's not really going to be the greatest thing. And Aluka lives. Wow, GE Tigers completely off the rails at this point.
GE Tigers might be going full Cloud9.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I don't know why Lee is prioritizing trying to kill this Hecarim over and over and over again. They just don't have the damage on this top side.
Yeah.
Maybe if Smeb had that Blasting Wand, had that Rod of Ages, but at this point, that is a massive, massive lead of nearly 6,000 gold in favor of WE. And with how tanky this team can get, I'm not sure the comeback really exists for GE.
I like the vision from World Elite. This entire series, they have had wards in GE Tigers jungle, and that ring of blue wards across the bottom half of the map, as well as some defensive wards in the top half, is going to give Aluka some opportunities to teleport to. Yes, he doesn't have his ultimate yet, but it will be available soon. And World Elite have already shown a willingness to go aggressive whenever he has it up.
Yeah, World Elite seems to have GE's numbers right now, and if you look at the player cam down the bottom right, you see GE leaning forward, looking very intense. I've casted these guys' games every week for months. I've never seen that look on their faces before.
Yeah, I mean, they're on the verge. Like we said, this would be the single biggest upset in the competitive history of League of Legends. I can't even think of one. I'm kind of drawing a blank right here. I guess the second biggest one may have been the finals between Ozone and Blaze back in spring 2013, which
That's possible.
On paper, Blaze coming in with a 13-game win streak and looking like they were on top of the world, only to get 3-0'd in that final. But other than that, I don't think we've seen a bigger, like this would be the biggest upset.
And the thing is, World Elite have to get over the biggest hurdle. They've got a fantastic lead, they've got towers, they've got all the tools available, but it comes down to closing out on those inhibitor turrets.
Yeah.
And with Smeb on the front line and wave clear from Prey and Gorilla, unless GE Tigers continue making more mistakes, I think GE can still dig down and defend, but they have to have a phenomenal job. There is no margin for error. And look how aggressive Mystic is playing.
Well, Smeb
No
doesn't
armor.
have a lot of armor. Yeah, I mean, it's not very hard for Mystic to just sit there and do a lot of damage.
What
with
a
auto
great move
attacks.
by Spirit, too. Just
Yeah.
coming in very aggressively, playing the objective game beautifully right here.
Yeah, this is an extremely good WE team that we're seeing right now.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking that they have come together so quickly at the beginning of this tournament, and it can't be stressed enough. They had never played together as a team before arriving here in Katowice. And they have come together. We've seen such an evolution in this team over the few days of this tournament. And Shia just being magnificent in terms of his outplays in the mid lane.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the GE Tigers, another team that came together very, very fast and started dominating everybody. You know, are we seeing the beginning of that for a team from the LPL now?
I mean, this just raises so many questions
Yeah.
in this match, but that large deficit coming in so far, and you know, it's a long time until the next Dragon, but GE may have to give that one up as well.
Yeah, Home Guard has just been completed for Aluka. Again, vision is good. The outer turrets are all down with the exception of that top lane rather, for GE Tigers. So for World Elite, considering the way they have been playing, there should be a massive bullseye set on that inner turret. And I think GE will most likely be aware of it. So maybe see some defensive wards there to respond and try deal with the World Elite aggression.
And interestingly, too, Aluka's not going for the Trinity Force this game. He has started building more tanky. I'm not sure I like that, because at this point you can snowball in an advantage with the damage onto the back line.
You think you could, right?
And Prey also going for that Blade of the Ruined King to help just create some distance.
On the same token, there is a fair amount of damage between Spirit, Shia, and Mystic. So if World Elite are opportunistic in a numbers or, you know, again, the aggressors, maybe relying on the damage from the rest of the team to back him up. But I do agree with you. Traditionally, I like the Trinity Force. It also, the split push threat is just multiplied exceptionally. Tower pushing, attack speed, etc. Works into his favor.
Kuro going for that Abyssal Scepter, actually very afraid of the AP coming out of Ahri. And you know, it's not a bad build, because Aluka doesn't have damage, so it's unlikely that Mystic is actually going to be getting in range of him right there, but still a very defensive play from GE. Now Spirit coming in, Smeb going to tie him up a little bit. Great warding deep though.
Yeah, a lot of WE members very close by, and Smeb having to back off yet again. Meanwhile, ping's going down. It looks like Shia moving up that bot lane.
Yeah, they're just trying to play defensive right now. They don't want to overcommit, but WE's vision game has been excellent. They are playing so very well.
And as predicted, within a minute, they've moved their way to the top lane. They did get the Righteous Glory from Smeb, and the rest of GE Tigers, they're nowhere to be seen. World Elite should have a few seconds to get some damage on this turret, and they'll be able to respond in time. So I'm getting a little too excited here for World Elite. But nevertheless, it's just really good play. They're forcing GE's hand at every opportunity.
Yeah, they're playing the pressure game well. GE does have some good defensive pink wards though, so they're not being given the runaround too much in terms of their own jungle play. They have the information necessary to make decisions. Spirit finally gets up to that pink ward. That's the critical one to remove.
Yeah, and remove it he does. There's still another ward there to give GE a little bit of vision anyway, but it does kind of pave the way for maybe a couple wards from WE to come in. Now this tier 2 top turret, possibly in a little bit of trouble, as GE just tries to wait everything out, just tries to keep whatever they can keep alive at this point.
Yeah, that's a really good pink ward. You can see them playing defensively right there. Again, clearing out those wards, making sure that they can move between their mid and defend that tier 2 understar. Smeb gets caught a little bit, has to flash. Yitza coming in.
Yeah, Spirit manages to get away from that whirl, and now Yitza did burn his ultimate as well, thinking he could catch Smeb, so that's out of the way. So GE may find an opportunity here. Red buff, though, I believe, taken by WE.
Yeah, Dragon is
Somebody
spawning
grab
up
that.
as well, so if World Elite or GE make their way, you can see multiple blue pings down on that area of the map. GE should be able to get in range. There's not a lot of vision from either team, and based on GE's positioning, they could go in, but Kuro, he sets his sights on the horsey.
Yeah, Kuro does a little bit of damage to Aluka. Spirit there to zone. Prey's got to be very careful about his positioning, and as they come through this choke, it's going to be a little bit risky. That Morgana ult being out of the way helps a little bit, and GE Tigers are able to move into the river now. Dragon activated by WE. It'd only be their third, but it's so big. They're so far ahead of GE right now. There's a catch onto Smeb. Meanwhile, Spear comes in. There's knock up on the prey. Onslaught of Shadows comes through. Doesn't hit the AD carry. And now the exhaust onto Aluka. GE trying to turn this one around. Kuro manages to pick up a kill, but Shia responds in kind with a double, though. Things are not going well for GE Tigers. A double kill for Mystic. Prey on his own. A double kill now for Kuro, though. And it is a bloody battle. And the GE Tigers looks like they'll barely lose it. And that is an ace. Spirit and Shia survive. Can they take this dragon? Either way, a big win for WE.
Yeah, it looks like they will be able to take the dragon. Actually, even going that even in the fight was good for GE because they'll be able to get some gold and delay this game even longer. But yeah, they nearly cleaned that one up. Spirit with a great engage, got on to Prey early with the early knock-up. Prey just a little bit too close right there. Did manage to Valk out of the Onslaught of Shadows as we watch this. Speed Shrine immensely helpful. So look at that, Spirit, beautiful start to that fight. Then you see, of course, the Monsoon coming in, but they can't kill Aluka quite fast enough. Prey still on the backside right here. Look at Shia, great flank, does get Gorilla, and here are the autos coming in onto Shia. Shia then saving his last dash of the Spirit Rush, does hit Kuro's clone right there with the charm, but this high speed engage, you have the Speed Shrine, you have the Hecarim, and you have the Sivir ultimate, makes it very difficult to escape.
It does, and I actually think GE Tigers, despite the fact they lost the fight, they are down in gold, they got engaged upon in an inopportune way, yet they still managed to pick up 3. World Elite cannot continue having those team fights if they do not get Prey or Kuro down early. If they focus Smeb, which they have to do in some circumstances, GE Tigers will have the time they need for Prey to get their damage down.
Great call from WE right there too. Just go ahead, get the vision control over the dragon. You might as well check it and see if you can sneak it right now. They have such a substantial, such a huge lead in this game. Only 1 tower taken.
Oh, here we go. Kuro coming in, trying to make something happen. Spirit, Smeb going into the back lines. Can GE follow this up? Mystic still in a great spot, doing so much damage. Smeb just not tanking enough to take all that damage from Sivir. Onslaught of Shadows. Prey caught out again.
That's it.
Wow, that could certainly be it. It's certainly going to be an inhibitor at least.
Absolutely fantastic response from World Elite, but GE Tigers initiated. Smeb set his sights on Mystic, jumped in, got the spell shield, and World Elite responded.
He W'd onto the Sivir. Sivir instant spell shield right there. That's going to mean the Baron and almost certainly the game.
I can't believe it. I mean, this is a GE Tigers we've frankly never seen before.
GE Tigers are on par to lose the same number of games to World Elite in a best of 3 than they have done all year long in the LCK.
It's unbelievable. I mean, in Korea, against all those great teams, they're 10-0 match-wise. They've only lost 2 games total. Yeah, and here they are beaten by, supposedly the lowest ranking team in China.
China greater than all?
I can't believe it. I guess so. World Elite, apparently, at least.
Wow, and what a story for this WE team, too. And they're almost certainly going to close out this game at this stage. Their vision has been excellent. Their objective control has been excellent throughout this game. And they've been outplaying. I mean, Shia comes in with some very scant experience on World Elite Academy and delivers a world-class performance.
Absolutely phenomenal. Completely solo killing Kuro wasn't a favorable matchup, but more importantly, the way he danced in and out of the respective team fights in this game, on the sidelines, finding the flanking maneuvers, even re-engaging as the fight drags to a close. Great pickups for World Elite. And whoever's working in the background to help analyze the team's weaknesses from game to game is making monumental strides in very short spaces of time.
Here we go, Aluka on that split push right now. Sheen up, moving towards that Trinity Force finally. Smeb has that frozen heart, but it's not going to be too much use right here. WE just powering right into the base.
Yeah, is there anything that GE can do to stop this? There goes inhibitor turret number 1. And GE just does not have the strength to keep WE from taking this inhibitor and possibly a lot more.
They simply don't have the damage is the issue. They don't have the tools in this game with this specific composition after falling so far behind to pull this one out. It's not like there's going to be a late game miracle comeback here or a big scaling in this composition. I mean, this game is done and dusted.
Gentlemen, we are on the verge of history. Like the Titanic being hit by an iceberg. GE Tigers are being taken down in monumental fashion.
Oh yeah, I think you got to say David versus Goliath is probably a better anecdote for that one because, man, coming into it, nobody expected WE, first of all, to get this far and then to take out the GE Tigers, and we're looking at them now taking down another inhibitor turret. GE has like one more fight, and here it is. Onslaught of Shadows, a huge ultimate from Maluka, and the rest of WE coming in, just pushing back the GE Tigers so easily. 3 kills, it is over. There goes another inhibitor, and against all odds, against the predictions of basically everybody in League of Legends, WE is poised to win this match and go to the grand finals against TSM. Here they go for the Nexus turrets. Number 1 goes down, only Kuro and Gorilla left to stand behind them and save that perfect record for the GE Tigers. I don't think they can do it.
The world's best team is beaten by China's worst
I can't
team.
believe it. There it is, GG!
Whoa! What an incredible result. And this tournament has just been chock full of surprises,
No
of
kidding.
these upsets. And that's it. The best of 3, the first time that we have seen the GE Tigers lose a best-of series. WE comes in here with their new players, no synergy, no experience, and takes out an undefeated Korean team. Absolutely incredible.
The expert desk said at the beginning of the series that this has been the tournament of upsets. The underdog has reigned supreme. And
Wow.
thank you, gentlemen, for that one, because it is so true.
Well, this is going to shake up the LPL. This is going to shake up OGN Champions quite a bit. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the season shake up in these regions.
And honestly, I have no freaking clue who's going to win the final.
No idea.
Nothing is predictable anymore.
Yeah.
It's been such a wild ride.
Oh, it's going to be great, though. TSM versus WE, that is going to be an awesome finals. Well, let's take it over to the expert desk to break down that crazy